Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll look into a player who came to LA along with Kawhi Leonard to form their own duo. Paul George and Kawhi had a great run last year, but fell short to the Nuggets being up 3-1 in the Western Conference semifinals, and ever since they've received tons of slander, although the Clippers are standing at the top of the West as a 3rd seed. With that being said, today's topic is NBA legends and more on Paul George, so let's get into the video. PG-13 is averaging 23.7 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 5.3 assists per game this season. He's been called a smooth player, and Jason Tatum even admitted that him and Kawhi were 2 of the toughest players that he's ever had to guard. So let's take a look at what some NBA legends and more have to say about PG.
But also another thing that I don't want to hear, Paul George, I don't want to hear any more of this Paul George slander. I don't want.
Right.
No. I don't care, right? Because Paul George, you have the ability to be one of the great basketball players of this era. You have it all, and you go back and look at any great basketball player, they have been forced and hit with tons of criticism. My man Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. All of these guys have faced an absurd amount of criticism. So I don't want to hear when you have all of the ability to be one of the great players of this generation that you're not happy with the criticism. That comes with it.
Well, he hasn't said that, by the way. Boogie Cousins said that. I have been super impressed with Paul this season. He has, first of all, taken all comers. He has been very open and honest about the fact, hey, I screwed up here. I could have said this better here. That's all I ever want from someone, right, is to acknowledge what the situation is in front of them, try to be better, and he has been better.
Amazing.
The Paul George revenge tour this year has been incredible. A little bit of a blip when he had the toe injury, but other than that, he's been fantastic.
Leonard, 18 points to lead the Clippers in the first half. He's part of our American Express teammates. Kawhi going 18, 6, and 4.
Why you got Paul George on there?
Just because he's playoff P, and we're trying to see what's up with playoff P. 9 points on 2 of 10, coming off
playoff P. He's more like MP.
Coming off 4 for 17 and 2 for 10
He's
in
MP.
game 2.
Missing in person. No, man. He can't keep getting no pass.
I agree, Chuck.
You know, come on. You know, he's supposed to be a star. When you're a star, you have to do your thing. The Kawhi, you know, they didn't play well last game. As Doctor, they haven't played well this series. They got the better team, but Paul's got to play better, plain and simple. Kawhi's being a leader. He's like, y'all guys get on my back. Playoff P can't keep getting no passes.
And listen,
let me tell you something.
What kind of passes are you giving him?
No, because you can't be calling yourself Playoff P and lose all the time.
And that's what
Although the Clippers have been pretty banged up this season, with Kawhi, Serge, and Beverly missing some games, PG has kept the wins coming in. He's been playing spectacular this season, not only with scoring, but also involving his teammates and rebounding the ball. So let's get back to what NBA legends and more have to say about PG.
Regardless of his troubles in the postseason, I believe he deserves it. The fact of the matter is, when you've got a Russell Westbrook making $217 million, when you have John Wall over 170, and you see the kind of money that these guys are getting paid, I have no problem with Paul George getting this money. And a matter of fact, what I really want to applaud about him is the fact that he didn't duck and run. You hit the side of the damn backboard, you fold into game 7, you don't get it done. I don't want you looking to go elsewhere and to skip town after this upcoming season because you could be a free agent. You right there in town in LA. They're willing to give you the money. You're going to be a face of the franchise. You ain't ducking and running, and you acknowledged for the public to know you owe the organization a ring, because last year, in my opinion, was your best chance to get it, and you blew it. So the fact that he's willing to embrace the challenge, accept the challenge, I like that. And in terms of the max extension, again, I've always been of the mindset it's not just what you do in the postseason, it's what you do over the course of 82 games. It's whether or not you show up and you're ready to roll. For the most part, throughout his career, when you watch some of these numbers, the year before he averaged 28, and so I'm looking at it from that perspective, and I'm saying to myself, excuse me, the brother's got got potential. We've called him a star. Why are we lamenting the things that he did in the postseason? Because we expected better from him, and he didn't give that to us. So he's got some making up to do to the Clippers organization and to those that had lofty expectations for him. But having said that, in terms of character as well, I don't think you can meet a better person. He's a real good dude. He's going to work hard. He's not going to cheat you with effort. His durability might be a question mark from time to time, but in the end, I think particularly in today's NBA economy with the money that's flowing around today, you got an opportunity to keep Paul George over the next 5 years. You do it.
The stats, and you decide, are you buying or selling that the trends will continue? So first up, Paul George, who is shooting a ridiculous 51% from the field and from three-point range, as well as 91% from the free throw line. You are looking at a list of players to achieve a 50-40-90 season, because 50-50-90 is too absurd. We don't have a list for that. So, Zach, are you buying or selling? We'll set the bar at 50-40-90 for Paul George. Zach, you got me?
Well, I can tell you right now what I think.
Go.
Yes. I think this guy is he's got like a chip on his shoulder after all of that preseason talk. And you can see it. Look at how he goes to the basket. We was talking about the way he attacks the rim. It's like, PG. I dare you to jump.
Yep.
Because I'm going to posterize you. Yeah. And he's not leaving without a foul or a bucket or both. And that is the PG that people have been worrying about, especially with that team and the way that T. Lue is utilizing them. I really think he can stay on track to hit that landmark.
Yeah, I think if anything, maybe to 45, but I think it'll be higher than 40. And he's on a mission. He came on the podcast earlier this season. He looked in the camera and said what he was going to do. But to be honest, the only way to kind of forget everything is to do this in the playoffs.
That's all it's about.
And I believe he will. You know, he really was big on the last year before. He didn't get a chance to have any kind of training camp workouts because he's coming off 2 bad shoulders. So this year he got a full for what it could be, time to work out, and he's definitely, coming back for names this year.
I love his attitude this year. I love that it started with taking accountability, because I think people needed to hear that from him, and he needed to do that for himself. He's a high character guy. He needed to do that, and then to go out and say, I know I got to prove it to people. Watch me
do it.
I love it. All right, we don't have Zach.
They had to extend him because they had to make the trade for him, or else they get no Kawhi or Paul George. They had to do. Who wouldn't do that? And then once you have him, you can't let him walk out the door. Someone's going to give him a max contract. The Clippers had to do it. I get it. But did he deserve it? I take no pleasure in saying this, guys. The answer is no. He did not deserve it. Now, let me tell you something. For years, I would have heated debates when I would say Paul George is better than Carmelo Anthony. Because Carmelo was a better scorer, but Paul George was a very good scorer, and Paul George is a shutdown defender. Great defender, and Carmelo was. And I used to have debates with this. It's not like I'm not a Paul George guy. I really, really thought he was excellent for a number of years. Maybe before the mainstream caught on to how good he was. But here's the problem, guys. That applies to the regular season. Yeah, he was 28, 8, and 6 on the year 2 years ago. On the season, he's capable of being a top 5 MVP player or in that conversation until it matters most. Guys, the reason you have to perform in the playoffs in the NBA, the only thing that matters is the playoffs. Don't talk to me about the regular season. Is this. They want to do play-in games now? Guys, already 8 teams in each conference make the playoffs. That's over 50% of the teams, 15 teams in each conference. Already over 50% of the teams make the playoffs. You add a play-in game, that's postseason. Once the season's over and you're still playing, that's postseason. So you mean to tell me 10 out of 15 teams make the playoffs, basically? 10 out of 15, that's 2/3 of the league is in the playoffs. Don't even talk to me about the regular season. If you have studs on the roster, you will always be in the postseason. And then how do you play? Guys, Paul George is paid like a superstar. This is the most money we're allowed to give you, right? Because, of course, they make rules so they can underpay the players. But this is the most money we can contractually give you to be a superstar. And then when it doesn't matter, you're almost a superstar. And when it matters most, you're a kind of average, maybe a tick above average starter.
The main question is, can PG get his vengeance from the last season? The postseason is coming up fast, so let's see if he can continue to perform when it matters the most. Thanks for tuning in to watch today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.